Hey everybody, thanks for coming out to my book release virtual poetry reading. New collection of poetry just out from Anxiety Press. Chicken Bones and Snot Rags. As you can probably guess from the title, this is not your typical academic MFA or workshop poetry. Most of these poems were written in 2023. A few of them are revised hangers-on from years ago. I've got stacks, hundreds of poems I have in here. Looks like more than 2,000 poems over there. And I occasionally drag them all out and see if they can be shaped up. A few of them snuck in here. You know this wine is delicious. It says right on the box. Delicious and red in a green glass. We all need a mentor, right? Somebody show us how to figure out how all this stuff works. My first poem I want to read y'all. A big crowd tonight. Thanks everybody for coming out. First poem I want to read to you, A Great Mentor. Alone tonight in this little apartment. No television. The Wi-Fi unplugged. Plastic cup of wine on the desk next to my laptop. In my younger years, I made the mistake of seeking wisdom from humans. It is only in their absence that wisdom can be found. The hurdles in the race to solitude deter the weak but stimulate the strong. A blank page, a page with nothing, once it's been blackened in blissful solitude, will give you more wisdom than the combined brains of the next 20 people you'll see on the street. Seem to learn a little bit more about yourself every time you write a poem. Maybe it's like fish food that makes you smart. So maybe instead of eating fish, you write a poem every day, or every hour. Pretty soon you'll be an Einstein. This next poem is one of those old poems that I drug out of the stack I have in here. I keep them. They're too bad to publish, but too good to throw away, so I don't know what to do with them. Drag them out, work them over. It's still like the old prosy stuff I used to write before it ever got published. It's called Friday Night Dinner. 2 Slim Jims at the liquor store, $2.57. That was my dinner tonight. That and a can of Van Camp's pork and beans, which was already in my cupboard. Although there wasn't any pork in the pork and beans. Remember the good old days when there was a chunk of pork fat in the pork and beans? Not anymore. I love that liquor store. It is a good one. With the lottery prize amounts and LED lights affixed to the front window right next to the Western Union sign and the obligatory hobo out front, it always beckons me in. The hobo didn't even ask me for spare change. At least I don't think he or she did. He or she said grunka wonka wonka, which might have meant spare any change, but I can't be sure. The pink Crocs made it difficult for me to discern gender. I was going to write to Van Camp's to complain about the lack of white chunk of fat in my porky beans, but when I reached into the trash to get the address, I cut my hand on the lid. I've always lived by myself. Even back years ago when I was in the Navy, I would rent an apartment on the beach while the ship was in port. Solitude and individualism go hand in hand. And this next poem is titled Individualism. It floats one above the riptides of collective stupidity. It's a wrought iron fence that keeps out assimilation and conformity. It brings the admiration from those that wish they could be. Someone once counted up 7 deadly sins. There's only one necessary virtue, individualism. All other virtues flow from it. But cheap apartments, what do cheap apartments bring? Cheap people. This next poem is called Poverty, Noise, and Stupidity. Nothing else to do in this heat wave but nip at the whiskey and beer. My windows are open, just like the windows of those assholes across the courtyard with their music at full blast. Fan blowing on my ass, blank page in front of my face, unwanted music in my ear. Do the people in high rent places have to put up with this shit? Are the people in high rent places decent and considerate of their neighbors? What is it about poor people that make them so noisy? Noise is the glue that binds poverty and stupidity. Okay, that's it. Hey, poet friends, don't think I didn't notice. No blurbs on the back of my book. What'd y'all say when my publisher said, hey, Hugh Blanton's got a new book out, I need some blurbs? And you go, fuck that dude. I don't want nothing to do with him. All right. Thanks everybody coming out to my reading. Nice big crowd.